feature of the day, the Holy Bull. One of my favorite horses. Still love that Travers in 1994. We saw Holy Bull and Concern go head-to-head. Grade 3 race, mile and a 16th. This is where we saw Sovereignty have his coming out party last year and really stamp himself as a Kentucky Derby contender. This is, to me, a really interesting race. Cannoneer is going to be back in this spot for Brad Cox and Irad Ortiz Jr. You've got Nearly, who threw up a 97 buyer last time out, winning a 7-furlong race here at Gulfstream Park. I think there's a couple other interesting ones here. If you want to try and make case for an upset, Buetane ships in for Bob Baffert as well. So it'll be the first Baffert shipper we see on the Triple Crown Trail. Aaron, hotly contested race. Who are you putting on top?
Well, there is some news. I'll jump in first. Buetane, the flight got canceled because of the weather.
Oh.
So he will actually go next week in the Southwest. And hey, I kind of liked him in this spot, so that was disappointing for sure. So Butane's out. I have there's a 99% chance Game For It is out as well. With that being said, I really debated on a few in here, and I ended up landing on the number 5 Cannoneer. And the big thing that I kept going back to, it just feels like this horse is going to be loose on the lead, especially with the 9 out of it. I just think Cannoneer is going to break to the front, get to the front. They're running a mile and a 16th. That means there's a short stretch. They have 2 finish lines at Gulfstream Park. The finish line for a mile and 16th creates a short stretch. I just think Cannoneer, everything kind of sets up for him to get it done here. I am very interested to see what Incredibolt does. I am very interested to see if Nearly can run back to that last effort. I just think Cannoneer is going to get the trip here. So I went number 5 Cannoneer on top.
Yeah, Buetane and Game For It, the 2 horses who I thought were really going to push him, if they're both out, I mean, that makes it hard not to pick Cannoneer. You mentioned the short stretch. It's a huge advantage here at Gulfstream Park to be on the lead going mile and the 16th because you just don't have as much time to make to be able to get up. That's why Sovereignty was so impressive in this race last year, because he came from off the pace and was flying late and was able to still get up for the win inside of that short stretch. I agree with you. I think Cannoneer is the horse to beat. Not a overly creative pick in this spot here, but I do think this is the one where it's, look, it's a legit horse, $1.75 million purchase. The speed has been awesome from the front end perspective. I think gets loose. I think is very, very tough to catch here. But I do want to talk about a couple others because I do think this isn't just a necessarily open and shut case on Cannoneer. And I think the exact is interesting, especially if you don't like Nearly in second. So Nearly, a not this time horse out of a mineshaft mare, $350,000 at auction. Pletcher Velasquez, really impressive going 7 furlongs. But that is the longest we have seen Nearly go so far in his career. What do you make of Nearly? What type of trip do you expect here? And do you think this might be a little too much too soon for him?
Yeah, it's all great questions. I could see it going either way. So there's a couple things I'll point out. The first thing is the last race, it came out of nowhere. And not the fact that he won, but just how good he looked and the number that he got. It didn't match what he had done so far. Now, you could almost just throw out the first race. And then the second race, he won by 9 1/4. He looked great, but analytically, it didn't look like over the moon, and then you had the great race last time out. So can he repeat that, and can he repeat that going long? I think those are the 2 big things. And then the other thing is, this is a horse that he hasn't really broke very well in the last couple of starts. He gets kind of too far behind. Will that hurt him in the setup that we just talked about? I almost put him on top, but there's something that in my head, and maybe it'll get kind of disproven or calmed in my head, that he might be better around 1 turn. It might have been a little phony what happened last time out. I just keep thinking that in my head. I just look at it and go, did he not face much? And that kind of thing. So I'm a little worried about him.
Yeah, I mean, Confessional is supposed to be a good horse. But to me, here's the problem with Nearly. And this is just a Mike Somich thing. So you take it for what it's worth if you agree with me or not. It's a 4-horse field. Like that to me is right out of the gate a blinking red light when you run your best buyer of your career in a 4-horse field and you break 4 of 4. They really don't go very fast up front. 46 and 2 for a half mile is not that fast at Gulfstream Park for a 7 furlong race where you expect good horses. And this horse wins by 5 and doesn't like blow out 12s. I mean, it wasn't even that fast coming home. This horse just kind of beat everybody else. So I think Nearly could win. I think the price is going to be way too short on Nearly for me to be interested. Can I interest you in the horse to his outside? Bravaro. We always talk about Saffie Joseph Jr., how good he is in Florida, how bad he is everywhere else. Bravaro, a New York State bred, goes up to New York. I thought looked very good, winning a maiden special weight, stretches out to a mile in the Sleepy Hollow, won that one pretty easily. Actually had to be professional as well, as he was not overly forward in that race. There was quite a bit of speed, and he had to kind of wait for his spot. And when he got it, they pushed the button. Bravaro took off. I think this is a legit contender for second and possibly the top spot, depending on what we get from Cannoneer.
I don't have any argument, and I wouldn't talk anybody off of them. That's all I would say. You know, we've seen New York breds come up here, or come down here, I should say, and run just fine in this circuit before. Of course, Tiz the Law jumps out, but there's been others that have been okay. I thought the last race was really good. I really did. The first one, it's a maiden special weight, it's a New York bred. You don't really, you don't, it's not like you don't take it serious, but you just kind of like, okay, now we'll see what he does next. And he really improved. And I think he can go to, a mile 16th. I don't think that'll be a problem. I'm with you. I don't really know if he can win, but I think getting second and third at a number makes a ton of sense for this horse.
I also think that with Game For It and Buetane, if they're both out, all of a sudden he's the chase. And again, maybe he doesn't get there, but it's going to be tough to pass him if he is the horse that is chasing what I expect to be a little more tepid of a pace with a shorter stretch. So I think that you got to at least consider Bravaro if you want to play a 5/8 exacta cold, if you want to, sprinkle something around there. I don't mind looking at Bravaro underneath. I'm probably going to use Bravaro in some pick fives as well to see if we can get a little bit of a price. Quickly, two horses I want to talk about before we move on here. The one Incredibolt, coming back for Riley Mott, won the Street Sense at Churchill Downs, going a mile and 16th last time out, and the 4 Global Aviator for Crichton, who won a maiden special weight here. Let's start with Global Aviator, because I think this will be a quicker conversation. 1 at 6 furlongs, came from off the pace, probably shows a little more speed today. Any interest in this horse taking a big-time step forward as a cheap Kentucky bred here?
I do not have a lot of interest in this one. So, yeah, it will be a quick conversation. And it's not, look, I went back and watched that race. It's not that was a bad race at all, made up a lot of ground. I think one turn is where you're going to see this horse at its best.
Yeah, I think we're just over our head. I mean, that to me is like, maybe we're not quite at this level. But I thought the first race was good. Could take a step forward. 85 buyer first time out. A nice number there. All right, the one Incredibolt. To me, it's the pace and the setup here, and the fact we're going to mile 16th on Gulfstream that makes it hard for Incredibolt to win. This is a horse that did have a ton of buzz in the Street Sense after breaking the maiden at Churchill Downs. It feels like this isn't the spot. Like, this is not a fully cranked up Incredibolt, and we maybe get a better run here moving forward in the Gulfstream Park Triple Crown Trail versus today in the Holy Bull.
It does scream like, quote unquote, let's get him a race, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, don't do anything crazy. Don't try to have him chase the speed, this, that, and the other. Just have him run his race, and wherever they fall type of thing. To be fair, I think to Riley Mott, I think a lot of people saw Sovereignty and Bill Mott win the Street Sense last year, and then they saw Riley win it this year, and they're like, all right, now this is the next Sovereignty. Like, I've heard that. I just want to tell people, the next Sovereignty may be 15 years before we see the next Sovereignty. Like, this is not Sovereignty, okay? And I don't want that comparison, and I don't want Riley Mott to feel that pressure, because that's not this. I think this is a decent horse. He's the one. I'm not going to bet to win, but he's the one I'm really interested to watch run in this race, because say he kind of runs and he's flying late and he gets, second, third, even fourth. When they stretch out, better configuration, kind of better setup, who is he? Is he the type that he's not Sovereignty, but can he kind of be a contender in this group right now? I'm very interested to watch him run. I'm very curious to see how he looks. I just don't have a ton of interest to play him on top in this spot.
Yeah, to me, he's one of those, like, just slot him in third or fourth if you're playing supers, because I do think he's running late, but I don't think he's going to have enough to get up. I don't mind the 5-8-1 try cold either, if you just want to try and take a big price or a big shot at a number with putting the 5 on top here. All right, that is the Holy Bull Stakes, race number 12 from Gulfstream Park. Number 5, Cannoneer for Aaron. Number 5, Cannoneer for Mike. Bravaro, the other horse that I am interested in here, if you're looking for a little bit more of a price.